Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everybody around the world. Welcome back to another One Piece video featuring your girl, Nami, coming at you guys with a very, very spicy matchup in OP11, Nami versus Zoro. I'm not going to hold you guys too long here. We're just going to do a quick little intro, then dive into the games. This is a list that we were playing around with at Gaming Giant over the weekend. This list has been adjusted since then. It has been changed. Typically, almost every day I play this deck. My current deck list, if you're interested, will be posted in the Discord for those of you guys that want it. Currently, this is what we've been playing around with as of late. Again, this list has been changed, but we played up against Zoro today, and I felt like the matchup it's favored us a little bit, just due to the fact that we can become a 7k leader, which makes a lot of his attacks a little bit easier to deal with. But unfortunately, we did not see a lot of characters in which we needed to see in today's matchup. We saw a lot of blockers. Unfortunately, we did not get a lot of pressure on board. So we didn't see any big bodies until later on, and we only were able to come up with Katakuri here, unfortunately. We did see our 5-drop Katakuri on curve, which was very, very nice. But Zoro, of course, had a board by that point, which is okay here and there, but when I have to attack with Katakuri to try to clear board, it kind of leaves me wide open and makes the matchup a lot more difficult than it needs to be. Now, and then on top of that, it feels bad for Nami to swing into a body on board instead of going for her leader effect. So I think Zoro does have a decent matchup here. It just makes it a little bit easier for us to deal with it due to our leader ability. That's about it. Now, of course, there's numerous different ways to build Nami, so maybe my particular list was not suited for the matchup, and that's totally fine. Again, the deck has been adjusted. In any case, we're going to go ahead and dive into this game today, so you guys in a split second. Let's go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, in which today we are playing into a Zoro as blue-yellow Nami. Our hand is looking very, very good here, and I do decide to keep it just because we have the Katakuri, the 5 cost, and we have a Gravity Blade, in which one of the very few that we carry in this deck for moments like this, and for some reason, it decided to come up. So let's hope it actually benefits me here. We're going to try to get as many choppers as we can with the Gravity Blade. I know that's kind of what you want to do, but it doesn't always happen, so we'll see. Of course, Zoro starts off with a Searcher here, which I'm hoping she does not have another Nami Searcher. Getting 2 bodies in the early game or a Makino would kind of be a little bit rough here, because we don't have anything to play, and we want to swing into leader just so we can get off our Nami ability. So instead of being able to drop down a blocker here, which we could, ideally, we just don't have the Law, we don't have the Shirahoshi, you know what I mean? She did get a chopper. Please. I forget, man. I think she... Okay, cool. She does pass. Awesome. Alright, so we're just going to go 8. I know, like, again, if we had a blocker, it's probably better just to throw it on board here. But, we don't. So we got to make do with what you have. She takes the hit. Yep. Maru. Okay. So no Hiyori, which might be really good here in this matchup, just to be able to put the Amaru in life, or Red Rocks or Gravity Blades here. The Zeus, although we have one, I think it's very difficult to play Zeus into this matchup, just because how wide Zoro can build board, and the fact that we basically help him. Although we do remove a body, it's very easy for him to just replace that body, right? So we'll get rid of the pudding here for our effect. Okay, there's the first chopper. I'm guessing she's looking for either the bear. Yep. So I think, what else does she get? The 4 cost chopper, the one that has 4,000 power, I believe. Alright, so we're at 6, or 5, sorry. And this is the one thing about Katakuri I really, really like here. It allows us just to be able to play on curve and attached on to leader. That way we always have our leader effect, ready to go. And thankfully, we got Soul Focus here. The downside to it, I think in this matchup, it's probably better for her to take life instead of healing me. Just because it allows us to prolong and make it to the late game, where she doesn't have that many cards in hand typically by the time she gets to late game, because we're attacking a lot of the bodies on board, right? Ideally. And right now we're explaining to her how the Nami effect works, and whether or not if she attacks into me, she decides to trigger the Soul Focus and she rips a life, do I get to draw a card? That's what we're talking about right now. But in any case, yeah, I think it's better for her to trash life instead of healing here. And she does know that. Or at least I would assume she does know that, because she does decide to trash life instead of let me heal, which is unfortunate. I think that's what I would do in this matchup too. Alright, so there's the chopper. Yep. And we are going to take this hit just to trigger this. Yep. So the other chopper plays down the bear. It would be nice if she did heal me, but there's not really a chance of her doing that, I don't think. Yeah. We did get rid of the event, which is cool. We don't really have much going on for us right now when it comes to our hand choice. I'd much rather see, like, Cavendish or Kikinojo, something that we can just play on board. Although this current list here does not utilize Cavendish. But having another body I can just put on board that Katakuri doesn't have to swing, you know what I mean, is very, very good here. She's going to go 7 lead. So we've got two options here. We block with Katakuri, give her the 2k, right? And then she just dons up the bear to swing into Katakuri, and then we lose the Katakuri in the process. The reason why we decide not to do that and just give her the Captain Kid for the 2k bonus and then give her a Zeus to make us a 9 for the 7k swing is because I kind of want to keep the Katakuri on board. We're going to need a body here, and this is really the only one that we have access to right now. Another chopper. Alright. I mean, that's good for us, because now at this point we can just Gravity Blade both. Just now she either replaces a character already on board, or she's going to, yeah, she bottom decks here. Cool. So now we're on 7 Dawn. We still have the ability to give Dawn to our leader, so it's okay to Gravity Blade, in which we can just bottom deck both choppers. And now we're sitting pretty good, right? We have the board under control a little bit. We can swing into the chopper that's rested. But I also want to get cards to hand here, but I think we have to clear the body, or at least attempt to clear the body. She had the counter. That's unfortunate. I think as much as I wanted to swing Katakuri into it, I think we just had to pass turn there. Especially with only having 4 cards, I had to make the choice of going for face to draw 1, or clearing the body on board. And if we went face, then it's a potential that she has like Rush Luffy here, or Rush Zoro. I don't know what she's running in her particular list, but just more bodies on board in which we would have no blocker for. And both of these bears get the Dawn Up Chopper for free, so both bears are 5, and the middle chopper is 7. It is pouring down outside right now, so I'm sorry if you guys can hear the thunder and everything. I apologize. So bear's going for 5. We're going to activate leader ability here, which just allows us to pitch a card, makes it 7k, which is cool. She's got 5 Dawn left. We'll take the hit. So now we get 2 extra blockers here. So she either plays Luffy, which Luffy gives the rest of the Dawn to Zoro. And then Luffy can't hit me because we're a 7. Or she plays... What else would she do with 4 Dawn? She's got, what, 4 in hand? So block her chopper. And then 1 Dawn up for the event. It's kind of cool because like you can kind of tell what Zoro's plays are going to be just by like repetition, and the deck is only built in so many ways, right? Realistically, but she did leave a Dawn open, so that's probably that 1 cost event that allows her to put an animal on board. Maybe. I think we're on 9 Dawn here. I'm thinking about dropping Katakuri, but I don't really think that'll help me all too much. We do have Shirahoshi in hand as well, and it's probably better for us to get another blocker down. Because we can do double Katakuri and Shirahoshi here. Because Kata just bounces, what, the blocker chopper to bottom of life? So, I think that was better to do it that way. We'll do leader effect, or sorry, Katakuri's effect to put this on leader. We do get a red rock, which is nice. So when she attacks into us next turn, we can just bottom deck one of the choppers, assuming she plays another one. 5 Dawn. I want to go 7 here. We'll go 7 face. And this is where I think I made my mistake. Or at least one of the mistakes here in this game. Because we go 7, just because we can get the card draw. In reality, I probably should have went 7 into one of the bodies on board here. But then that would have left us with 3 cards in hand at the end of the turn. So maybe that was the correct play. I'm not entirely sure. We do get the blockers and stuff, but we don't have any actual bodies on board to combat, her board here. I think seeing a little bit of a Nojiko's or Zeus would have really changed this matchup. Although Zeus is very tricky here, because the moment I drop Zeus, I basically help my opponent by taking my life, you know what I mean? And when his game plan is to go aggro, it's kind of like a lose-lose in that situation. So Nojiko is definitely something that we need to see in this matchup. Because it slows down Zoro's plays quite a bit. And we also have no counter here in hand. I think we've only seen the Zeus 2K all game, if I remember. She's back to 5 in hand here. Because she was at 3 and we decided to attack her, so she gets her 4 and then her draw turn. So, if we would have cleared a body on board, potentially that's more cards out of hand or just a body gone. And in this turn we only had 3 extra attacks plus lead. We'll use leader ability here, go up to 7k. Okay. She's going to minus the Katakuri, so she's going to make that a 3k. I guess we'll remove the bigger chopper, right? Because she's going to keep boosting that with the bears, which makes that a 7 by itself. And then she has 4 Dawn left, it looks like. No. She has 5 Dawn left. Yeah. I was about to say. Math. This might be a Luffy play. But I guess she couldn't necessarily play Luffy here either because we're 7. And he wouldn't be able to hit me because he's only a 6k swing. Okay. Remember, the other Katakuri is 3. Okay, plays Chopper, leaves a Dawn open again. That's 2 turns she's done that. Either she has the event in hand, or it's just like an awkward play. Because the bear can't swing, right? Even though she attaches the other Dawn, it couldn't hit me. So perhaps it's just an awkward play there. And she can't really do anything else with the other Dawn unless she has an event in hand. Unfortunately, we get another Katakuri in life. So we're all tapped out on Katakuri right now. Which is not good. But we do have the Slave Arrow, so we should be able to survive next turn. Until you see what I do here. And I think this is what really just throws the game away at this point. Because we get the Slave Arrow, which allows us to bounce back, something on board to hand. Which ideally we would bounce back the Katakuri if, or after we block with it. Or if she wants to, attack into it, we have to block. We can bounce it back, give our leader 4k. And then get a 1k counter back in hand with the Katakuri. Which we can absorb another hit by making us an 8k if we pitch it to guard. And now we have to remove the chopper here. And this is where I made the mistake. I don't think I should have attached the Dawn at all. Because now we can't use Slave Arrow. And I did mention it, in the game. Mistakes were made here. Because she gives us 2 2Ks, right? And I'm thinking, well, there goes the Slave Arrow. And I should have just swung with 6. And she's asking how many Dawn I have left. I should have kept the Dawn up. And I don't think I should have swung at all here with the Katakuri. Or at least with the Dawn attached to him. I think going 6 was okay because we had to clear the chopper. That way she only had 2 attacks this turn. And we know she probably has Luffy in hand, and that's totally fine. Because at this point she has 3 cards, right? But I think even if I had not swung with Kata, we would still have to defend 3 attacks that are currently on board. In which we need all of these bodies here to go for game next turn. Right? So even with the Slave Arrow, I don't necessarily think it would have changed the game state. It's just something that I had to think about after I already done it. You know what I mean? Because I definitely don't have the counter in hand to defend any of these attacks off, outside of just using my leader skill and then blocking out with Katakuris. Then I only have 8 cost Kata and leader to swing, and she has 3 life. So it's not necessarily possible for me to win the game at this point, unless I had counter in hand. And the Katakuri in life was potentially, also a 2k or something. Yeah, rush Luffy. So now he's a 7. And we have to take the hit here. Ideally, we could have just guarded that, just in case Diable Jambe, but at this point it was already over, because we already spent the Dawn. And I think she was contemplating on playing down another one. But only thing she really has to do here is go 7 and 7. Like, she knows I have 2 cards in hand. So unless all of these are counter, she already knows the Katakuris. We already have that. So that makes us a 7 here. So I either have a 2 and a 1, or I don't. She still has to get over the other blocker. So yep. Minusing the power. We have to block. And I think by that point, she knows she has the game here. There's no reason for her not to just go 7 and go face. In which she does. Well played. Yeah, that's what we're talking about, the Slave Arrow. It wouldn't have let me win the game, but we could have just hung around a little bit further. But then again, our top deck is not going to change this game either, going into the next turn, because it's another Katakuri. So, you know what I mean? Like, oh, what else was I supposed to do in that scenario? I don't think. I think what we had, we played well with, right? We didn't see a single Hiyori. We saw only 1 Zeus all game. So, I mean, we got 1 2k counter. Everything else was not necessarily very helpful in that situation. We didn't see any Nojikos, which I think we actually have to have in that matchup, just because you can bounce the cards back to hand and your opponent has to play them back down. Especially for Zoro, you know? I think this is pretty good. Unfortunately, we saw none of these. Sobbles, none in life. Didn't really help us out there either. But overall, it was a pretty good showing. I think we did really, really well for what we had. So, she played good. And again, she is one of the very few Zoro players that come out to local. She does play other decks as well, like Doflamingo typically. But without Jinbei, you know, well, what are you going to do? Now, outside of that, we have one more match to showcase for you guys. And we're playing up against a previous top 32 Reiju player. Very, very good player. We typically do end up meeting occasionally at Gaming Giant quite a bit. He is a judge there. And he does a very, very good job at doing it. Let alone, very good player. So, he will be on, not Reiju, but the one and the only, Blue Purple Luffy. I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's go.